Now come on over. I baked y'all an apple pie.
Yeah!
Apple pie! I'm gonna eat it all before you even get there!
No!
I can't believe that it's been 15 years since Adventure Time first came out. I remember back in 2010 when it first debuted and I was instantly hooked. I love the characters, I love the story, I love the ever-expanding world, and as the seasons went on, it just felt like one big overarching narrative with so many different characters, all going towards this final point in their story. There were so many origins, there was a lot going on in Adventure Time, and eventually it felt really story-driven, and I love the story of Adventure Time, but at the core of it all is Adventure Time Season 1. It's a little bit different from the rest of the series. It feels a lot more episodic. It feels a lot more like an introduction to all of the characters, getting to watch Finn and Jake go on these self-contained stories that don't really matter too much to the overall plot, but hey, you're just learning about the world, you're learning about the characters, you're growing a connection with Finn and Jake, and that's what I can enjoy about it. So today I'm going to be doing a retrospective where I analyze every single episode, making sure they get plenty of time to shine, and discussing what worked, what didn't work, what made Adventure Time so good, even in its purest form, that being Season 1. And if you like videos just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. At 30,000 subscribers, I'm going to be cosplaying as Muscle Man and doing a hot dog eating contest. And if you want a place where you could just talk about cartoons, movies, shows, games, you could give me video ideas, you could just basically talk to anyone, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's talk about Adventure Time Season 1. Now, the very first episode of Adventure Time is Slumber Party Panic, and it's a very weird choice of an episode to start with. I know they were originally supposed to start with the Enkai Ridian, and I honestly feel like that might have been a better choice, but still, Slumber Party Panic is a lot of fun. At the beginning of this episode, we first get to see Jake and Lady Rainicorn, just, brief views into the characters we're going to explore, and then we just go to Princess Bubblegum and Finn, where she is doing a science experiment trying to raise the dead, and she is successful, but in a negative way, where the dead come to life and they're going to try to eat everybody because they want sugar.
Sugar, you ding-dong!
Give me some sugar, baby.
Chew on this!
They want it so bad. So yeah, that's the plot for our episode. The very first episode of Adventure Time is a zombie episode, and I think everything they do with it is actually pretty enjoyable. All the candy people having to go to town hall, or just, the main part of the kingdom, the castle, they're all in there and they're freaking out. They don't understand why they're there, and Finn is going to tell them about the zombies. But Princess Bubblegum pulls them aside and is like, no, that's not going to happen. And one thing I immediately notice is Adventure Time Season 1 is a lot more expressive than the rest of the series, because I feel like the only person that could express emotions super duper well was Jake, and that was just because he could, make the strangest face that you would ever see. But everybody in Season 1 tends to, just go so extreme with it, like just really extreme. And Princess Bubblegum, when she's telling Finn that if the candy people find out about the zombies, they will flip out.
Flip out!
What do you mean, flip out?
I mean, they would flip out!
And then we get this really funny scene where it's just poor old Starchy, and Starchy is just in the cemetery, and I think it's hilarious because it's obviously just, him being so very, very dumb, where he's just like, I'm gonna stand here with my shovel lowered, my defense is down, not going to do anything, and then he sees a zombie and he literally just explodes. Yeah, it's crazy stuff like that, but hey, that's just classic Adventure Time Season 1 for you. Just kind of random nonsense, and it's kind of weird that the candy people exploding bit never really came back into play. I don't know why they decided to retcon that. Maybe because they didn't want to handicap candy people so much to every single situation, but still a very interesting plotline that the candy people will literally explode if anything bad happens. So this leads to Finn making a royal promise to not tell anybody about the zombies. So he just tries to make it a fun little party while also trying to hide away the zombies. I think it's enjoyable for the most part, with him having to distract Jake by making him and Lady get down and dirty in the closet.
In the closet with Jake!
뭐? 나? 웃겨 정말.
Okay, alright. But in 7 minutes, I'm gonna come out there and make you spill your beans, Finn.
Just having a great old time, 7 minutes in heaven, that good stuff. And so Finn is just trying to keep all the candy people just distracted by having a dance party, and then eventually they play Blockado, which is just blocking all the doors. yippee, they block all the doors, and then everybody's blocked, the zombies can't get in, and then Finn gets the great idea to make everybody think that they're playing with piñatas, so they all put on blindfolds and they attack all of the zombies, smash them to pieces, and yeah, all the zombies are defeated. Good stuff. They're just eating all of their fallen dead friends' candy corpse organs. I don't know if that's cannibalism. Can candy people eat candy and be perfectly fine with it? I guess so. It's not cannibalism if it's allowed to be eaten, I guess. No, I don't know. But either way, the first half of this episode is really enjoyable. All the plot with the zombies is really good. The entire fight scene, although not the best, it's kind of just random. It's a lot of fun. And if you're a kid, it would definitely brighten you to the whole series and make you want to stick around. And even as an adult, it's just good fun. It just feels silly. It feels good. Getting to see all the candy people be a bit oblivious to everything and Finn just reacting so harshly to everything is also a lot of fun. And then there's still a little bit of episode left with Finn being like, well, the zombies are dead. I don't have to do anything else now, right? And so he tells Jake, and that breaks the royal promise.
Oh, we killed all the zombies that Princess Bubblegum and I raised from the dead.
Really?
Huh? Jake?
And this is where it gets a little bit weird because I feel like Princess Bubblegum would have used this to more of her advantage in the later series, but it was probably also retconned as a thing that, you know, Princess Bubblegum cannot do because I don't know how she would invent something that could literally stop time and freeze everything else in place, but Finn breaks his royal promise. This causes the Gumball Guardians to freeze time except for Princess Bubblegum and Finn has to complete a math challenge or he is going to literally die. They post up the hardest equation and then he's like, wait a minute, I thought of a better one. Here you go, 2 + 2.
Wait, I thought of a better one. Yes, 2 + 2.
Solve it or die.
4, right?
And then Finn gets it right, and Finn gets to live, and that's pretty much the entire episode. Princess Bubblegum finishes her elixir and is able to revive all of the dead candy people, and yeah, good stuff. I enjoy it. Starchy even comes back to life.
Starchy, you're not a zombie.
I can't help it. Flesh is delicious.
You're delicious.
Don't squeeze me apart.
I think it's a great introductory episode. I think Enkai Ridian would have been a way better introductory episode to, you know, for like the format of the series, how it was going to work, the adventures they were going to go on, but I still think this is pretty fun. I mean, it's just a casual slumber party turning into zombie panic, and then that, you know, finale sequence with the Gumball Guardians was also very interesting. It's just a really fun episode to go back to, and I think it's a very good first episode, and obviously when it comes to ranking these episodes, it's going to be at number 1 so far, because, well, I haven't ranked any other episode yet. Episode 2 is Trouble in Lumpy Space, and this episode is very dependent on you finding Lumpy Space Princess funny, and I only do sometimes. She's kind of always the same creature to me. It's just, oh, drummer Bob, these lumps. I know you want to slump upon these lumps. Yeah, I don't know. She's funny sometimes, but she doesn't usually hit, and this is one of the episodes where she doesn't hit. The episode's all about how LSP accidentally bites Jake, which is now turning him into just this lumpy mass monster.
Oh, snap. Ah! Oh, what? Sorry I bit your leg.
You're still biting me!
Oh my gosh. Oh, right. Sorry.
So they have to go into Lumpy Space Dimension World in order to get an antidote so Jake doesn't convert fully into Lumpy. And that's basically the entire premise of the episode. They just go around trying to find a car for a little bit so they could drive to the antidote. LSP argues with her parents. It's okay, I guess. And then we get to one of the only parts in the episode that I actually really laughed at is when, you know, LSP is like, oh, Brad has a car, but I don't want to talk to Brad because we, like, just totally broke up. So Finn just steals it and he's like, oh, Melissa, let me borrow your car so we could, like, totally kiss hot boys.
What?
Melissa, totally drive us to make out, point, to knock out with hot boys.
You're so bad.
And then she comes right over. I thought that part of the episode was a little bit funny, but that was pretty much it until the end. It's just them going around. LSP sees Brad. She's super bummed about it. And so they, you know, they go and find the actual antidote people. LSP gets very mean to them, so they don't want to give the antidote anymore. And then the episode tries to paint that as Finn shouldn't yell at LSP, even though LSP literally just cost them everything. And if it wasn't, you know, circumstance of the later half of the episode where Jake just so happened to land on the ball, both Finn and Jake would have been lumpy forever and there would have been no fixing that. So yes, it was all LSP's fault. She literally just started making fun of these dudes for no reason.
What do you care? Just give him the antidote already and stop being such a poser.
Sorry, kid. We changed our minds.
So of course they're not going to give the ball. Jake eventually turns full lump, ditches Finn, goes to prom coming, the weekly prom coming dance. Yeah, they go there. Finn is really sad, but then he gets the lumpy dudes to bite him, so he turns lumpy so he could jump to the dance, and he has the antidote. He gets down there. Jake doesn't want to sit on it, and so Finn turns fully lumpy as well. And then he's like, I don't even want to give you this antidote anymore, dude.
Give me that ball. No, you can't have it. Give it to me. No, I want it. Give it to me. You're that bad? Go get it then.
And so Jake now wants it, and then Finn bumps his head, and then Jake sits on it, and then yeah, I think Finn also sits on it. I don't know, this episode is always so hazy for me because I just don't really care about it very much. I don't know, this episode never just hit for me. And then the episode has a happy ending with LSP being like, oh, hey Finn, and then Finn is sorry, and then they have a dance party, yippee. It's okay for the most part. I definitely don't think it's the best of season 1. It's just your introduction to LSP, who she is as a character, and I'm surprised that they went with LSP so early in the series. I mean, I know she's there for a very long time, and she does have her ups, but I don't know, she never just hits that hard as a character that could just run an entire episode and be entertaining for an entire episode. So yeah, this one's kind of whatever to me. I think it's still fine. I'd still find it entertaining. I could rewatch it. It's not like one I'm going to be skipping every time, but for the most part, it's just, oh, drama, oh, hello, touch my lumps, oh, Brad, I love you, Brad, and it just doesn't do a whole lot for me, but I still think it's an okay episode. So I'm going to obviously rank it below Slumber Party Panic. I think Slumber Party Panic is way more fun than Trouble in Lumpy Space, so for now, Slumber Party Panic is number 1, and number 2 is Trouble in Lumpy Space. Next up, we have the episode Prisoners of Love, and going back to this very first episode, the introduction of Ice King is always very weird for me, especially knowing everything about the Ice King, all of his story, even going into Fiona and Cake with him being Simon. It's just so weird to see this very early version of the Ice King. It doesn't mean that this episode isn't fun. I really like the introduction of it, and then it slowly teeters off from being very good. It's just okay. The episode is just very weird feeling. The introduction of the episode is just Finn and Jake having some fun in the Ice King, just skating around using each other as sleds. It's good fun. I like the animation. I think it's a great opening to the episode, and they eventually just stumble upon Ice King, and they're just very mean to this guy. I mean, it has like that classic Adventure Time roasting instead of, you know, feeling like a genuine joke or genuinely trying to appeal to all audiences. It's just kind of it's whatever, with them being all like, Ice King, you're a nerd. You're a nerd. Yeah.
You know what Ice King means?
Yeah, I know what Ice King means. A big nerd.
Oh, holy cow.
It feels very weird. It feels like 2010's like randomness humor to me, which I don't necessarily enjoy. I think when it comes to humor, Adventure Time gets a little bit better once they get to season 2. It still feels very like kiddie to me, I guess. I know it's a kid show, obviously it's a kid show, but I feel like they do improve a lot with the comedy going into the later seasons compared to season 1, but it's still enjoyable. They're just having casual conversation. Ice King is very extra in himself. I mean, he's always extra, he's always weird, but he's very extra, like, I'm an old man, I'm cranky, I hate everybody, I hate children, and so he freezes Finn and Jake to take them up to the Ice Kingdom, to his humble abode.
Woo! Yeah! Oh man, that was great!
You guys are gonna get it.
Yeah, right, sure.
And we just get this really weird scene that I feel like at the core of it all, they did want to make Ice King more even in the beginning, because they do scenes like this, unless it's just to be like really weird, but there's a scene where like, oh, his back is hurting, he just digs into his pocket and pulls out some trail mix.
Trail mix. Yogurt chip.
I don't know, it kind of paints the picture of just him being more of a pathetic, lonely old man, instead of, you know, this crazy guy that wants to kidnap princesses and marry them all and, like, harass everybody. It doesn't really feel like that was the entire goal of it all. especially with the ending of this episode, but that's not the point I'm getting at. I don't know, it just feels like Ice King still has some core that they actually did want to explore his character a little bit more in the future, and they were setting it up by portraying him as this feeble old man. And so he puts Finn and Jake into this prison where they now see that he has kidnapped a bunch of princesses, and he's been holding them here, hoping to make them all love him. And so now Finn and Jake's plan is to find a way to get out of this cage, and that's what they do for the rest of the episode. We get a couple of shenanigans with Ice King just being very, very weird, very mean. Just stuff like that, you know, casual stuff. And then Finn, you know, being very angry about all this, he does one of his weirdest expressions where he, for some reason, just forms the most giant eyebrows ever. And he's just like, Ice King. And he comes up with a plan to act like everybody's having a great time, they're having so much fun, to make Ice King want to go inside of the cage, and so that works. He's like, why is everybody having fun without me? And he walks into the cage, and Finn just kicks him in the face. Ice King passes out.
Oh, my beard.
And everybody escapes. They're all happy. Happy ending. Slime Princess really wants to get all up in Finn's 13-year-old body. I don't know. It's very weird how they all prey on him. Is it just okay to want a 13-year-old? Or are all of these princesses of a younger age? I don't know. I don't think they are. I think they all want a 13-year-old. They're all predators. I don't like that. But then we get to the end of the episode where I think truly does say that they want to explore Ice King a little bit more. They kind of do this in a couple of episodes where Ice King is in like this dream state where he's talking to somebody. And in this case, I think he's talking to the Cosmic Owl. And it's like, he's just saying, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't anybody love me? And then the Cosmic Owl shows up and he's like, you're a big nerd.
A big nerd. And why don't you try being cool like me?
Yeah, and it's very weird, but I feel like at the core of it all, they truly just wanted to explore Ice King a little bit more and set up the fact that maybe he is more than just this evil character. He always felt like more of just a saddle, lonely old man instead of just being pure evil, and I like that they still do that in season 1. I think this episode is okay. I don't think it was that great. The middle of it literally is just them in a cage just dealing with Ice King being like, so it's kind of whatever. I still think it's decent. I really like the beginning of it a lot more than the middle stuff, and I think that end is very interesting way to end the episode, but overall it's just okay. I'm gonna put it above Trouble in Lumpy Space, but below Slumber Party Panic. The next episode we have is Tree Trunks. In this episode, although Tree Trunks gets a lot of hate, I genuinely think her introduction episode is one of the best episodes in season 1. It is just, it's so hilarious. It's so perfect. I love the beginning of it with just Finn and Jake messing around, and then Tree Trunks is like, oh, hey boys, apple pie's ready. And then we get that great like scene where it's the Jake being all like, no, as Finn is running to get to the pie first.
I'm gonna eat it all before you even get there.
No!
Great stuff. I love it. Great introduction of the episode. And then it just keeps on rolling with the comedy with a fly landing on Tree Trunks' pie. And she just gets this deranged look on her face like, oh, a fly on my pie. Oh, that's no good. And then she walks over to the trash can, throws it in. And there's just the same look on her face like, the flies wanted it. They can have it.
Flies wanted it. They can have it.
And everything didn't even matter because she had another apple pie baking anyway, but it's still a really funny scene. And then they're just eating the pie, having a good time, and they ask Tree Trunks what she wants to do with her life. And she's all like, well, I'd want to go and pick an apple. And they're just like, well, that's kind of lame. You pick apples all day. And she's like, no, the crystal apple, and guard it in the crystal forest or whatever the forest is called. And so, yeah, Finn and Jake and Tree Trunks are going to go into this forest, take Tree Trunks on an adventure to find that apple. And all the scenes we get after this are still really enjoyable. They go into the forest, there's like this weird fleshy monster that comes out of a tree, and Tree Trunks' natural survival instincts upon seeing this giant beast with teeth is all like, yes, and just starts slapping stickers onto him.
A sticker. And here's a scratch and sniff sticker. Smells just like a pickle. Oh, and this one's a holographic unicorn. but it doesn't have a heart.
Yeah, really funny stuff, and of course that's going to, you know, make this thing want to eat it. I think it could have been even more funny if the monster just turned super nice and all of a sudden, like, loved Tree Trunks for putting, like, little rainbow stickers on it. Were really funny, but either way, Finn has to save Tree Trunks and gets a little bit upset at her, and that's going to be the plot continuing for the episode. Tree Trunks just messing up over and over again. They eventually find these stick dudes, and Finn has to just get absolutely mauled by the stick dudes, just get beaten because Tree Trunks wants to have a picnic with them all. Yeah, very weird stuff, and Finn is just, you know, teetering off, you know, being very, very, very angry, and Tree Trunks goes, and there's this weird, like, snake monster, and Finn is fighting it, trying to figure out, and Tree Trunks, like, puts on some makeup and tries to seduce it, going like, ooh, look at my yellow elephant body, yeah.
Helping you by tempting this guy with my body.
It's not a guy, Tree Trunks. It's a snake-armed ruby brain beast.
Even brain beasts get lonely, Finn.
And so Finn has to defeat this monster again, and Tree Trunks almost got in harm's way, so Finn blows up at her. He's super angry. He's like, what are you doing, you stupid yellow elephant? And Tree Trunks is very hurt. She's so sad by this news, so she leaves. She runs away, and Finn finds her when she screams, and she's all like, oh, I found a crystal apple, and it's guarded by a crystal guardian, and they decide to mimic the crystal guardian to make the crystal guardian think that it's making the decision for them, so they go all the way up to the crystal apple, and Tree Trunks takes a bite of it, and genuinely, one of the most shocking ways to end a episode like this. I don't know how they got away with it. Literally, in the last episode, there was just so many, like, child shenanigans, but at the end of this episode, Tree Trunks explodes.
That thing.
Okay.
Woo! How's it taste, Tree Trunks?
Yeah, how is it?
She takes a bite of the apple and she just blows up. And I know, like, 5 seconds later they show her, like, running in the crystal dimension, which probably puts some kids at ease, but I guarantee you there was one 6-year-old who was watching this, maybe was a Tree Trunks fanatic, and was like, wow, I love this silly little old elephant, and then you just watch it blow up. That was wild. That was wild. Crazy way to end the episode. But overall, this episode is phenomenal. I like seeing this world. I like seeing this crazy, demented forest. It's kind of one of our first insights into, like, the expansion of this world. Because before, yes, we got to see Ice King's place, but now we get to see, like, oh, there's these crazy forests with all these different monsters. Are we going to get to see more of that? It gets you excited. And everything that goes on is hilarious. All the monsters are fun. Finn getting mad, but still caring. You get an insight into Finn's character. Jake being so easy to give into Tree Trunks is also good. It's just feels like a very good adventure with a crazy ending, and that's why Tree Trunks, surprisingly, is going to be #1 on the list so far. Then we have the episode The Enkai Ridian, which initially was supposed to be the very first episode of Adventure Time, but they decided on Slumber Party Panic for some reason, and I think The Enkai Ridian would have been a way better first episode. It sets up everything really well for Finn and Jake's dynamic, Finn as a person, and the type of adventures that they're going to be going on, which is why it's so weird that they chose the zombie episode first. Maybe they thought it was a little bit more hype. I don't know, but either way, The Enkai Ridian is a lot of fun. The episode opens with Cinnamon Bun being like, I'm gonna do a flip! He jumps back, hits his head, and that is when Princess Bubblegum starts to fall out of the tower. Finn catches her and is all like, Finn, you need this book! And so she sends him on a journey to go and get the Enkai Ridian, which is the book of heroes. And so he goes on this journey to, like, Mount Cragdor, whatever mountain, super mountain with Manish Minotaur, this manly Minotaur guy. Very exciting stuff. And they just have to keep on doing trial after trial after trial. They get to this gate and there's the keeper dude who is dressed like a little key, and Finn just shoves him in the lock, and that seems to do the trick. That's how they get past the first trial.
You, child, but you cannot use your brawn here. The door is magically sealed. Oh, you've unlocked the riddle in the door.
Pretty good stuff, and then they eventually find these, like, little fairies that are in a lava pit, and this is where it gets really weird because Finn's like, oh, we gotta help him. Grabs all the fairies, lifts them out, and then they just start murdering old women.
What?
Every time you say what, we'll destroy an old lady.
What?
Yeah. And Finn's just like, what? What are you doing? And they're like, every time you say what, we're gonna kill an old lady. And they just start murdering so many old women.
Every time you look sad, we'll destroy a big old woman.
Well, ever since I got to...
But Jake puts a stop to that, and he's all like, Finn, my boy, why would there be a bunch of old women wandering in the forest? That makes no sense. Okay, that is not a good Jake voice. I'm gonna have to work on that one. I don't know what I was doing there. But either way, Jake is giving him some wisdom, and he's just like, this doesn't even make sense. Why would the old women be out here? And then Finn cheers up a little bit, and then Jake just gets grabbed and eaten by this giant.
First dog I know, man. Jake?
Yeah, really good stuff. And so Finn has to try to get Jake back, and so he comes up with this idea to steal the giant's wallet, climbs up him, starts skydiving away, flips back, and then drop kicks the giant in the stomach, forcing Jake out of it. It's honestly a pretty epic scene. Great stuff here. And so they start floating up all the way to the top of the mountain, and we just get a great moment for Finn here, and shows the kind of person that he is, becoming a true hero, where even in this instance where a giant toddler baby man tried to eat one of his friends, he's still willing to give that giant dollar back. What a guy. What a guy. We can appreciate him. We like him. He's making everything better. We like him. Okay? And so he goes inside of this place, and that's when he gets his final trial, where he has to talk to like this grim reaper evil dude guy. And all the scenes we get here are a lot of fun. We get Finn fighting this giant monster and just laying waste to it really easily. And then we get this great moment where the dude's all like, well, prove that you're a true hero and slay this ant.
Enkai Ridian, then slay this unaligned ant.
Never.
And then Finn has the moral dilemma on whether it's evil or anything, and the guy just says that it's neutral, so Finn won't kill it, so he just decides to punch like this Grim Reaper guy in the face instead. And then he's like, never, I'll never do it. And then the keeper walks in, that little guy that was a key earlier, and then Finn just punches him in the gut.
Congratulations, Finn the human. Now you have truly reached the end.
Because apparently he wears little demon pajamas. Yeah. It's all right. Manly Minotaur shows up, gives Finn the Enkai Ridian. Happy ending. Good stuff. Makes for a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. There's a lot to like about it. There's a lot going on with all these different trials, but I think the episode flows really well. It's just to show Finn the trials of becoming a true hero, but it works well. All the different things that you get to see is very interesting, and I think it would have worked very well for a very first episode of Adventure Time. It gives you the full formula that you need, just going on really silly adventures, some good bro time. Jake has wisdom. Finn is a good guy willing to do anything. It has some good comedy here and there. Just makes for a pretty solid episode. I'm going to put this one at number 2, below Tree Trunks. And then we have the episode The Jiggler, and I feel like people lean a bit too heavily on the animal abuse portion of this episode, which is pretty dang horrendous, and I don't really find this episode to be that enjoyable, but people paint Finn and Jake like monsters in this episode, when they were just trying to look after this creature, and they didn't know that it would go so wrong. They didn't know the creature's needs. I think the way that they solve the problem is a little bit messed up, but hey, it's all supposed to be a little bit wholesome and has a wholesome ending. The episode's all about, you know, Finn and Jake just walking, and I honestly forgot that Finn has this like computer voice because he swallowed a computer.
I know what you crave.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Want to poop your pants all day long. Will baby behave?
What an interesting thing to give one of your characters to where he could sing like, baby, you drive me crazy. Yeah, that's what I would sound like if I had a computer swallowed. I'd sound like a goddamn angel. I know I would. But either way, Finn is all like, oh, I sound like a computer, and then this little dancing guy shows up, and it's the Jiggler! The Jiggler! Yay! And he's just like this little guy that whistles and likes to dance, so they take him back to the treehouse for a dance party. They're having a great, grand old time just dancing it up. Yeah, good stuff. And we just get some bro moments between Finn and Jake, where Finn is trying to feed it paper, and he tries to feed it a little mini Jake, and Jake eats himself because he can't let anybody else do it.
Well, you gonna eat yourself, tough guy?
Yes, if that is what must be done.
Yeah, random stuff like that. It has a lot of random humor to it, but it still flows with the episode, so it's more acceptable to me. I still think it works. And then it just takes a nosedive when the Jiggler starts to get a little bit sick. A lot sick. He's like suffering and doesn't really want to dance. He starts spewing liquid, and so they just start plugging his holes with a bunch of different stuff.
Coming! Mama. One more patch. There, finished. Ugh.
He literally looks like he's getting strangled to death, and then he just explodes, and just little bits and pieces of him go everywhere.
Jiggler!
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little horrifying, to be honest. I didn't enjoy it at all. And they're just like, oh, Jiggler, oh, we've done so poorly with you. And so they grab it and take it and try to take it back to its mama. And they get it there and it doesn't want it. And they're like, oh, the juice, we gotta put it in the juice. So they throw the Jiggler into the juice, just like literally chucking his body. And then the mom loves it again. Yippee, happy ending, I guess. I don't know. This episode's okay, I guess. It's just that one portion where the Jiggler is suffering that really brings it down. Maybe if they didn't, make it so gruesome looking for this poor little baby creature, maybe it would have been a little bit better. But, I mean, it's still okay. I think the beginning part of the episode is a lot better, which is the dance party. It feels hopeful. It feels energetic. It's a very grounded episode, but I still think it's not that good. And I cannot forget to mention one of the weirdest things about this episode. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it's a adult joke, but the title screen that they have for each episode where it's just a little piece of artwork, it's literally just like Finn's hand covered in a white liquid, and it looks like Finn was like tired and he was doing something with his hand, and they chose just to show the hand covered in this white liquid. You cannot tell me that nobody put 2 and 2 together for this title card of what that might look a little bit like. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. That's just my take on it, okay? Either way, pretty okay episode, but it's still going in bottom. It's bottom of the list. Bottom. It's just meh. And then we have the episode Ricardio the Heart Guy, and it's very weird to say that Ricardio is one of the very first true villains of Adventure Time. It's so weird because we've seen monsters at this point, but we've never really seen anybody that evil, unless you count Ice King, but Ricardio is also Ice King's heart, so does that technically count as Ice King? I don't count it, but either way, Ricardio. Very weird looking heart dude. The beginning of this episode is very interesting with, Ice King kidnapping Princess Bubblegum, and then Jake stretches his big old doggy ass up, and Ice King kisses it, thinking that it's Princess Bubblegum.
You just kissed Jake's butt.
What?
It's a really funny opening scene. I enjoy it. But then the episode gets a little bit weird, little bit funny, little bit weird. I don't know, because then we see Ricardio when they go to a party later that night, and he is just a walking heart. And I do not like his face. Something about his face makes me want to grab this little heart, throw him in the dishwasher or something, and just let that baby run to melt off that stupid ass face. I don't like how detailed it is compared to every single other character in the show. Maybe that's the goal, to make him look a little bit more menacing, but either way, I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I want to toss him in a volcano and leave him to rot. Maybe make him step on a pine cone or something. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like Ricardio. I'm not enjoying it. Okay, and then so the episode progresses. Ricardio sees Princess Bubblegum for the first time. He goes, boom, 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 boom.
Glad you could all make it.
Princess Bubblegum!
And he is just swooned. He wants her so bad. So he just starts rizzing her up for the rest of the episode, which makes Finn really jealous. And so Finn starts stalking Ricardio, and he eventually sees Ricardio beating up Ice King.
Doing something! Ricardio is tossing him in the dumpster and running away!
Yes, this is very sus, so he deems Ricardio to be a supervillain. So he starts going after Ricardio, Princess Bubblegum stands up for him after Finn starts attacking him, and Finn just doesn't understand how this could possibly be happening, until eventually he goes to this one place where Ricardio has Princess Bubblegum tied up, and then one of the craziest things that any villain really does in the show, Ricardio wants to cut Princess Bubblegum open, slice her all up, take her heart out of her so that he could be in love with Princess Bubblegum's heart. Yeah.
We're right all along, Finn. Now I'm going to cut out Princess Bubblegum's heart and make out with it.
Very crazy plan, crazy stuff, and this of course is going to lead to a little bit of a battle with Finn overcoming Ricardio, about to just, destroy him. Ice King crawls over and he's like, "That's my heart, don't do that." Yeah, but don't do that. He puts the heart back inside of him. Good stuff. It's a very weird episode. Ricardio is a very good villain for this episode, and I know we get to see him one more time, but I feel like he could have been even more recurring because he honestly is a great villain. He's great in that villain role. He's so menacing. His design is perfect. The things that he wants to do to organs is also very interesting and could have been a weird thing to explore. But overall, I enjoy it. I think it's a great episode. I think it's got a great villain. I think it's got some good laughs. The reason is some Finn and Jake bro time in the mix. Just some good stuff. I can enjoy it. I think I'm going to rank this up at number 3. And then we got the episode Business Time, and this episode is all about how Finn and Jake are just using flamethrowers on some icebergs and they discover the businessmen.
I remember business.
And their entire drive, their entire motivation for existence is business. So Finn and Jake hire them to just basically be their workers, to do a bunch of different stuff for them. And I really like this first scene where they just finish this little like training course that Finn and Jake were trying to build. And we get this great animation scene where they're just running through the like fire, guillotine, all this stuff. Really enjoy that sequence. I thought it was a lot of fun. And so Finn and Jake now start using the businessmen for pretty much everything. They fight their battles for them. They're doing everything for them. So much so that they could just eat ice cream all day and get really, really fat. Good stuff. The only time that I really laughed in this episode is the one scene where they're fat and they're just playing with Finn's fat, just molding it into things. They mold it into Ice King, which was funny, and then Finn molds it into Princess Bubblegum and is like trying to make fun of her and is like, "My name is Princess Bubblegum and I have a really annoying voice that I secretly think is really attractive."
Because I like science. I've also got a really annoying voice that Finn thinks is attractive.
That's it. Hey, what'd you say?
And he's just saying that he finds Princess Bubblegum's voice really attractive, and Jake is all like, "Wait, what?" That was a funny scene. I enjoyed it. Only really time that I laughed in this episode, so that was good, I guess. And then just the businessmen start taking it overboard when they decide to start kidnapping everybody, because if they kidnap everybody, then everybody will be safe. So Finn and Jake have to stop this. Jake stops it by just eating so much ice cream that he gets so fat that the machine explodes, and the businessmen want to kill Finn and Jake for firing them, because they turned evil, obviously. So Finn rehires them, and they send them out back into an ice sculpture, and that's the entire episode pretty much. Yeah, it's okay. It's definitely a episode of Adventure Time. I think it's honestly pretty bad. I don't know. I don't really like calling these episodes bad because it's not like I'd skip them. It's not like I'm not entertained, but it's just not that fun. I don't know. The businessmen were funny like for the first time you ever see them, just business. But after that, they just kind of lose their charm. They're just kind of whatever. Watching Finn and Jake be really lazy is also just it's okay. The finale is just it's okay. It's just a pretty mid episode. There's just not a whole lot to enjoy about it. So I'm gonna put this one just a little bit above the Jiggler. It's just okay. Then we have the episode My Two Favorite People, and this is the first episode that really kind of dived into Jake more instead of Finn. I feel like the majority of time it was mainly about Finn, but you know, Jake was kind of always there, but this was the first one that mainly focused on Jake. And Jake is trying to hang out with both Finn and Lady Rainicorn, and he keeps missing things because he wants to spend time with the both of them. And so Shelby pops out of his viola and gives him the great idea to hang out with both of them at the same time. Shocking! Can you believe it? And so he invites them both out, and they can't really do anything together. I will say that, you know, when you pay attention to Lady's Korean and you actually learn what she's actually saying, and she's just constantly saying things about like doing dirty, nasty, sexy things with Jake, it makes it a whole lot funnier in retrospective. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's hilarious. It's stuff you would never notice as a kid, but as an adult, you know, even though I don't speak Korean and I just decided to look it up, I will say it's really funny when Lady Rainicorn is just talking to Jake here, and Jake is just laughing. You have no idea why, but when you look into it, she's talking about running naked through a field with him.
우리 완전히 다 벗고 상추밥 미친 듯이 떠다닌 거 기억나? 럼바 아저씨 완전 맛이 갔었지.
Even though they're both already naked, how do you get more naked? Wait, Jake is wearing silk spider pants. He is not in the nude. Forgot about that. Forgot. He is always dressed. But either way, so Finn isn't really having a very good time, and so they decide to go into this lake to find a translator so that Finn could talk to Lady Rainicorn. We get a great scene with them diving into the lake. Jake feels left out, but Finn and Lady are able to, you know, spin, get that translator, get out of there. Good stuff. They put it on. We get this scene where they try a bunch of different like voice transmodulator things, and they eventually land on Grandpa being the best one. So she just sounds like I don't know what's wrong with me. She just sounds like, hey there, boss. I can't do it. I'm not going to try. Okay, either way, she sounds like an old man.
Voice options are old man, nerdy alien, or nightmare. Try saying something, Toots.
And then I ate
all the peaches in the orchard.
Okay, and so they start doing all this different stuff, hanging out, and Jake just continuously feels more and more left out. They go and find all these power rings, and Jake gets thrown off a lady, and yeah, it's just a struggle, and Finn and Lady are eventually just hanging out on Lady's house, spending a lot of time together. Jake feels really jealous, and so he invites Tiffany to hang out. He starts hanging out with Tiffany to make both Lady and Finn jealous, and that is when, you know, Finn and Tiffany just start brawling. Good stuff. And Jake talks to Lady about his feelings and how he felt left out, and how Lady is just like, well, you just wanted us to spend time together, and that's exactly what we were doing. Why are you feeling so bad? Good, happy ending. The fight with Tiffany was pretty alright too. I think Finn versus Tiffany is a lot of fun.
You'll never defeat me. I will be Jake's best friend because I'm Tiffany.
Makes for a good end to the episode, and it was nice to see a little bit of an insight into Jake's mind for this one. I will say Jake is a bit overreacting in this episode. He feels slightly out of character, but more in character. I don't know, it's a weird balance, but I still think it's a decent enough episode. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one at the number 5 spot. And then we have the episode Memories of Boom Boom Mountain. And this episode opens with Finn just being at the rough town where all they do is rough each other. It's basically just where they fight. That's all they do for fun. He's having a good time until he hears this mountain crying. He needs to know what's up with that, so he goes all the way up to the peak and he's like, hello, Mr. Mountain, why are you so sad? And he doesn't like watching all of these people fight. He wants this to stop. So that's basically the plot for the episode. Finn is going to try to get them all to stop fighting to make this mountain happen. And this is when we get to learn about Finn's first backstory in the show. Before anything, before Martin, before Minerva, before the human stuff, we learn that Finn was found in a forest with a shit-covered ass stuck to a leaf.
Look, Mommy. Honey, don't look. That kid's got problems.
And Margaret and Joshua found him and was like, that's a boom boom baby. But they wanted to have him anyway. Good stuff. Okay, he's adopted. That's great. And from that day forward, Finn decided that he was going to help anybody in need. It's another great insight to his character. Again, that's what season 1 is really all about. Just learning about these characters, especially Finn and Jake, so you can connect to them and relate to them and understand that they're good people. It makes the show interesting. And so Finn is just trying a bunch of different things. He tries putting animals on their hands so that they just fight with animals, which is a very weird solution. You wouldn't think like, oh, maybe these animals are all going to die or snap their necks when they start punching each other using the animals' bodies as a cushion. No, that wasn't really a thought process, so the mountain is still upset, so they decide to just, like, start patting each other, just like, hey, buddy, let me pat you instead of roughing you up.
What the? This is awesome!
All right, this could be it.
And they seem to like it until they all get rashy, so that doesn't work out, and Finn is just, you know, he's stuck. He doesn't know what to do, and that's when a bunch of different people start asking him for help for all of these different situations, and he starts panicking, but he decides he's going to pull through and help everybody at the same exact time, and we get this sequence of just one big helping of everything, and everybody's happy at the end. Good stuff. It's definitely not my favorite episode, but hey, we get a little bit of lore about Finn, like the most basic premise lore you could ever get, so that's okay. It's nice to see Finn once again doing everything he possibly can to help everybody to be a true hero, and that's okay for me. It makes for a decent episode. Not the best. I'm gonna put this, you know, above Prisoners of Love, but below my 2 favorite people. It's just okay. And then we have the episode Evicted, and we finally got to the introduction of Marceline, the Vampire Queen, and what an introduction. She honestly starts off the series as just a little bit of a troll. I never really felt any heinous actions toward her, like she was trying to be a villain. She just genuinely feels like she's trolling the entire time, just trying to mess with people, and I think it's pretty enjoyable for the most part. A lot of people don't like this episode because they're like, Marceline is being so mean-spirited. I don't like it. I personally think it's enjoyable and makes for a good episode. Seeing Finn and Jake just go out, having to try to find a new home makes for a really good episode. And just, you know, if so that you get your little summary, Finn and Jake are just starting off this episode talking about vampires. Marceline shows up and she's all like, actually, I own this house, and shows the M and is all like, yeah, you guys gotta go. So Finn and Jake leave, and Jake is just, you know, being the ultimate homie in this episode. He's just like, home is where your heart is, Finn. And where is your heart, Finn?
But home is where your heart is, Finn. And where's your heart, Finn?
Homies help homies. That's what it's all about. They're just helping homies out, doing what they gotta do, trying to find a brand new home together. And we get the illustrious, fantastic song, the greatest song that has ever graced your ears. Oh, Marceline, why are you so mean? Yeah, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. Just getting to watch Finn and Jake go and do all these different things. They eventually find a pretty nice, groovy, and snazzy cave to live in. They're throwing a party to celebrate, and that's when Marceline shows up again, and she's all like, actually, this is mine. And she also owns the cave, so Finn and Jake have to leave, but Finn's like, nope, not gonna happen. And then we get Finn versus Marceline, which is not the craziest fight ever, but because Finn just punches her in the face one time and she's like, ow, Finn, that actually hurt.
Ow, that actually hurt, Finn.
And then she's like, wow, that was so much fun. You guys can have your treehouse back. Yippee. Pretty wild stuff. When I was first watching this as a kid, I genuinely thought that Finn was going to kill Marceline by the end of this episode, and yeah, that would have been pretty wild. I think it's a great choice to make her more antagonistic at the beginning of the series, because that just adds to the layers of depth that her character can go through when you eventually explore her past, her connections with Finn and Jake, her connections with Ice King. Getting to see her in this way in season 1 was very interesting, and I think it makes for a pretty good episode. I mean, we got some great Finn and Jake bonding in this episode. We got a decent enough song in this episode. Marceline is always a great addition to any episode she is in. A good finale with the fight versus Finn versus Marceline. Yeah, just good stuff. I enjoyed it. I think it's a great episode. I'm really hesitant on where I want to put this on the ranking because I think it's decent enough, but I don't know. I'm thinking, I don't know, Tree Trunks is just such a funny episode. God, I can't believe I'm having Tree Trunks at number 1. I'm gonna put Evicted at number 2. And then I got the episode Witch's Garden, which technically shouldn't be an episode that exists because, you know, it's very much retconned because the entire plot of it makes no sense with everything we learned about Jake's story. But I still think this episode is hilarious with Finn and Jake sneaking into this witch's garden that has plants that are just all donuts. And Jake just starts going, oh, donuts, yes. And then the witch shows up and is very angry, very hostile immediately, and is like, did you eat any of my donuts? And Jake is like, no, and then just goes and just starts munching on the donuts.
Conscious must be hungry, huh? Whatever.
Magicus no more of that!
And so she's just like, Magicus no moricus, and then gets rid of his magic, so he just turns into like a half dog, half baby man. Yeah, it's a very weird visual, but that sets the episode up nicely with Finn and Jake trying to get his powers back by rubbing in a magic mud puddle. Yeah, very weird, very interesting, like, you know, initial canon way that Jake got his powers. I think it's very weird that they landed on that, but hey, I'm all for it. And so we just get Finn and Jake wandering around with Jake, you know, not having powers, struggling with his human body. They eventually end up at this trash river while they're looking for like this, you know, mud puddle, and Jake is talking with his subconscious. It's all very weird. It's very, very weird stuff, but hey, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time so far. They try to like rub themselves in this puddle. It's not working. And then this like sexy little skeleton lady comes up out of the like water and is like, hey boys, who wants to mate with all this?
Which one of you mortals wants to mate with all this?
And Finn says something hostile, so she's all like, oh, I'm gonna take you, and grabs him and is gonna just like take him away to be a husband. And so Jake really has to come to the conclusion that he definitely needs his powers back, so he goes back to the witch's garden and he starts profusely apologizing. He's so sad. And then we get one of the most genuine, funniest scenes in the entire show, where the witch is like, okay, I forgive you, here's your powers back. And then Jake is just like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, got your cane. And
Your lesson. I forgive you.
My powers! How can I ever thank... Ha! Got your cane.
just knocks her cane out from under her, grabs a donut, runs, and then just goes and just destroys the weird, like, you know, trash lady that wants Finn really, really, really bad. And it's just a really hilarious episode. Such a great ending. Obviously, the plot of this episode, when it's in the grand scheme of Adventure Time, makes absolutely no sense. But does it take away from how funny this episode is? I don't think so, which is why I'm going to go ahead and put this episode, honestly, at number 3, below the Enkai Ridian. I enjoy it. I think it's great. I think it has great comedy. It has a really funny concept. Just because it doesn't fit into the story doesn't mean it's not a good episode. And then we have the episode Ocean of Fear, which dives deep into Finn's fear of the ocean. Obviously, they're chasing this monster and they want to go beat him up, and he starts running into the ocean, and Jake is going to chase him, and that's when Finn stares at the ocean, and it just turns blood red. He is terrified so much of the ocean, he cannot handle it, and he cannot chase after this monster. And we get so many great scenes after this, with Jake just continuously trying to help him more and more to deal with his fears. We get this awesome scene where just a splash of the ocean water is just going to touch him, and it's just, you know, that iconic scene where Finn's face just gets such a great animation just update where it's just, I don't know, I can't even describe it. It's just that good. Season 1 of Adventure Time genuinely went so hard with all the different animations, all the different faces they did. It kind of has like a Gumball vibe to it with all the different faces that I really enjoy. I know they do that a little bit in later seasons, but I wish they did it a lot more like they did here. It just feels so experimental, and I enjoy it a lot. And then Jake gets the brilliant idea to basically build an entire fake house around Finn and just drop him off in the middle of the ocean. And again, we get a great face where Finn is just trying to breathe while he's in the middle of the ocean, and he starts panicking and just beating up Jake. Just non-stop good stuff. And so Jake again is going to try to help Finn, and so Finn and Jake are in a submarine having a good time, and that is when Jake is trying to help him, and Finn, even earlier in the episode, promised that he wouldn't attack Jake again. He starts just brutally attacking him and just launches himself over to the surface while he leaves Jake to basically die.
Around twice doesn't count as a rhyme, dude. Hey, you swore! Oh, my bread and butter! No, dude, don't!
And he realizes that he has to go and save Jake. And by the way, there's been the Fear Feister this entire episode, which I think is a great villain. I can't believe I haven't talked about him yet. He's basically Finn's like gut. He comes out of Finn's stomach and is like, "You're no hero, Finn. You're just a whiny baby." I think he's great. I enjoy him, and Finn is able to outsmart him by taking a wrench, knocking himself out, dropping into the ocean to go and save Jake. If he's not, you know, able to face his fear, he's going to be thrust into it, and he saves Jake, and he's able to semi-conquer his fear, and then a bunch of other things come out of his gut to tell him that it's okay to be a hero and still be afraid of things. That's perfectly fine. Good, wholesome ending. Honestly, such a crazy episode with so many hilarious moments. I love it. Every aspect that they did with Finn's fear, all the ways that they encountered it, was a lot of fun. We get a lot of good stuff with Jake genuinely trying to be a good brother and help him out, and all the scenes where Finn just starts beating the shit out of him is also really hilarious. I honestly think this is one of my favorites from this season, so it's always a struggle. It's always a debate. I'm going to put it, honestly, I think this one outdoes Tree Trunks. I think this is a phenomenal episode for season 1. I'm going to put this at the number 1 spot. And then we have the episode When Wedding Bells Thaw. And what if Ice King, that silly old guy, what if he was getting hitched? What if the Ice King was getting married? That's what we get in this episode. The beginning of it is Ice King coming to Finn and Jake's house, being like, is this the right address? I don't know. And he knocks on the door, and Finn and Jake immediately think that he's there to kill him. And so they start fighting Ice King, brutally attacking him. And Ice King even lands on the ground, is about to kill Finn. And then he's all like, oh, wait just a gosh darn minute. I'm here to invite you guys to the bachelor party.
Now I can kill you. Oh, wait. I am so stupid, silly Billy.
And so, yeah, that's what happens. Finn and Jake take him out, and we just get this montage of them doing a bunch of different things for Ice King, just going on all this different stuff. I think it's a lot of fun, and Ice King just keeps using his powers because he just keeps on causing fights with people, but I think it's fun. Visually a lot of fun. The music is a lot of fun. Just makes for a couple of great scenes. And then we get to the end of the episode where Ice King is supposedly going to get married. Finn and Jake meet his bride, who has these big old brights on her, these big old eyes.
Are you allergic to something?
No, Finn. I was just born like this.
Why are you crying?
I'm not crying, Finn. My tear sac is broken.
And they think that looks very weird, but she seems to be very into Ice King, and that is until they see that it is actually a woman inside of the ice trapped begging for help, and so they need to help her by getting the ring off of her. And they eventually do this. Ice King finds out, he's doing things, he's zapping, he's trying to stop it, and they get the ring onto Jake. And Jake moves his hand around, and when he moves his hand to touch Ice King's beard, and that technically means for a moment in the show that Jake married Ice King. Yes, all the fandoms, all the Jake King guys. I don't know what you would call that ship. I don't like that ship. That's a horrible ship. That's weird. I bet that exists, and that's weird. If you want Ice King and Jake to date, you're weird. It's weird. Just saying, just throwing that out there. Overall, a pretty decent episode. I think the beginning of it is a lot of fun. All that montage stuff is a lot of fun. We get a couple of good fights, and the finale is just okay. I mean, it's a kind of whatever plot line. It feels like it's all resolved really easy. There's not a whole lot going on to make it really seem like, oh, the pressure's on. Oh no, what's gonna happen? I don't know. It just kind of feels like they figured it out so easily with just seeing into her eyes. I feel like it should have been a little bit more of a reveal, but it's whatever. It makes for a decent enough episode. And I'm gonna go ahead and put When the Wedding Bells Thaw below Memories of Boom Boom Mountain, but above Prisoners of Love. And then we have the episode Freak City, and boy oh boy, is this a freaky one, I guess, if that's how you want to put it, because in this episode, we get our introduction to Magic Man, and Magic Man, in his first introductory episode, what do you think he does? You know, it's kind of unpredictable. He turns Finn into a giant foot.
A magic favor. A mystical magical favor.
Yeah. So weird, man. Such a weird concept. Who brainstormed this? But either way, Finn is a foot, and Jake has a fetish for feet because, you know, he's a dog. He loves that sweet, succulent foot smell. He wants him to stay as a foot. He wants him to appreciate his life as a foot. So Jake is trying to show him all the joys of being a foot. None of this really works out. So eventually, Finn goes and finds all these other freaks who are under a tunnel, who are all super freaky, and they're all other victims of Magic Man who are just, you know, turned into a head or an arm. And Finn is all like, oh, should I give up? Should I give up? No. And then he turns on his computer voice and he's like, get up you, I'm not gonna let you quit.
Hey, Finn.
Jake, stop telling me to enjoy being a foot and get out of that trash.
And they all form into one like amalgamation of all their different parts to form a real guy, and they go to attack Magic Man, and Magic Man is like, wait, I was trying to teach you a lesson the whole time. And then they still just beat him up, and they all get turned back into their normal selves, but everybody except Finn decides they want to stay together like that. Yeah, it's a very weird episode. I think there's some interesting qualities of it. I think Jake wanting Finn to like stay as a foot so he could constantly sniff him was also very interesting. Some of it makes me laugh. I enjoy the concept. I think all the freaks, you know, having a good finale, good ending is okay. But it's just an okay episode. It definitely doesn't do a whole lot for me. I'm going to put this one above the Jiggler, honestly. I don't think it's better than Trouble in Lumpy Space. And then we have the episode City of Thieves, and in this episode, Finn and Jake meet a little girl named Penny, who desperately needs help because a thief stole her basket. She needs it back so badly, so Finn and Jake are going to go into this city that is guaranteed to turn anybody that goes into it into a thief. That's the plot for the episode. It's just a city where everybody there is a thief. I really like this one sequence where Finn and Jake are trying to understand the city and get the basket back, and then just it continuously just gets stolen by more and more people over and over and over again. Great sequence. I enjoyed that. Sets up, you know, how the city is going to work really well. I think it's a funny concept for a city. They eventually go to this flower shop. They're just chilling. They go up to the tower where the basket now is. And I really like this one scene where Finn and Jake get up there, and then behind them, they just see Jake, who is now just wearing a fresh pair of red boots. He looks down and he's like, "No! I stole the city! It got to me!"
Where'd you get those boots?
Huh? What? What boots? Oh no! I stole the city! It took advantage of me!
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. So then Finn, because he's pure, he has to go up into the tower in order to get the basket, because you can only go in there if you've never stolen before, and Penny doesn't want to do it for some reason. Foreshadowing? I think so. Because Finn gets down from the tower and he's like, "Hello, Penny, here's your basket." And then Penny's like, "I tricked you. I made you steal. Now you're unpure, so you can't even return it." And Penny runs away. And this is when Finn goes in perhaps serial killer mode. He needs vengeance. He's a thief. He will do whatever it takes. He goes around, steals a bunch of different things. What does he need? Who knows? But he has all these things. He eventually finds Penny in a tent. What is he going to do to her? He doesn't know. Well, he shows up, he has a bar of soap, and he just starts washing Penny clean to get rid of that stinky, stinky thief smell.
Nice work, dude.
She's purified.
And hopefully cure her, and it cures him at the same time, because, you know, just when you take a shower, you're no longer a thief. Yeah. So why don't you go over to the grocery store and just steal a watermelon and a gallon of milk and bring it to me, and I'll drink it, and then I'll give you a big old bar of soap, and then your slate will be licked clean. But either way, the end of the episode is really good because Penny then steals their clothes.
You too.
Goodbye.
Whoa, dude. Why are you naked?
Just good stuff. I enjoyed it. It's an okay episode. It's funny. I like the setup. I really like the concept of the City of Thieves. I think it's got a lot of good stuff going for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it above my two favorite people. And then we have the episode, The Duke. And in this episode, I really like the beginning of it. I think it's hilarious where they're just playing with like these weird bottles that have mystical effects. And Finn goes to chuck it. It goes all the way up and it lands in Princess Bubblegum's bedroom and basically turns her into a skinned cucumber.
Justice of a cold dungeon.
Yeah, her skin turns green, it like ruins a bunch of her hair, and she blames the Duke, a guy who has been sneaking into the castle and stealing a bunch of pudding. Yeah, very weird, a very heinous act. He must stand trial for his crimes, and Finn goes along with it, blaming the Duke, and so Finn and Jake are tasked with capturing the Duke, and because they view him as already being such a bad guy, maybe it wouldn't be so bad to just shift the blame onto him? Well, what's the harm in that? So they go to the Duke's castle, and that's when they meet the Duchess of Nuts, or whatever her name is, and she's very weird. I don't like her.
Underneath the cashew bush, he even taught underprivileged nuts how to dance. But somehow he's gone rancid.
Yeah, she makes me uncomfortable. Not a fan of her. She talks to the nuts tell her things. And then we also have our little side plot here with this little squirrel that hates Jake. because Jake will never read any of his emails about his writing or whatever. It's just the angry squirrel that hates Jake, and I think he's hilarious. And we also have the like little son of the Duke who is out to get anybody who is trying to put his father on trial, and they eventually do find the Duke. They're like, "Hello, Duke," and the Duke is apparently really addicted to pudding. It's just called a pudding deficiency, where he has to constantly eat pudding, and he wouldn't be doing any of this if, you know, he didn't have to. And they learned that the Duke actually isn't that bad of a guy, so they're like, what do we do here? What's the logical way to take this? Let's stage a thing where the Duke has to stop a criminal in order to make him look amazing and stop Princess Bubblegum from being assassinated. So they set all this up. It's the worst performance ever, and Finn has to come clean and say that it was him the entire time. Princess Bubblegum is all like, well, I forgive you, but you gotta do something for me. And that includes pretending to be Princess Bubblegum at this royal meeting so Princess Bubblegum doesn't have to show up looking like, you know, a disgusting looking pickle. And so they're there, they're having a good time, and that is when we get the reveal that the Duke's son is trying to kill Finn, and then the angry squirrel jumps out and is all like, "Remember me, Jake?" And Jake's all like, "No," and he's like, "Ah!" and jumps at him.
Didn't come alone. Remember me, Jake?
No.
And yeah, that's just how the episode ends. Just a freeze frame of that. Good stuff. Really hilarious ending. I think all the concepts in the episode were pretty good. I think the Duchess of Nuts was a interesting woman, although I didn't like her very much. I think she works for the episode. I think all the plots going, the Duke trying to fake out Princess Bubblegum at the end, just good stuff. I think it makes for a good episode. I think it's pretty decent. It's definitely not my favorite, but I'm going to put it ahead of City of Thieves, right below Slumber Party Panic. And then we have the episode Wizard, and this episode doesn't have the most crazy plot line, but I think the majority of it, especially for the first 8 minutes, is just a lot of good fun with Finn and Jake wanting to become wizards. So they go to a wizard academy, they meet Bufo, which is just a frog, and when he goes like, you know, that frog thing where he goes like... all the tadpoles are inside of him and they're the actual person talking. Yeah, very interesting character. I enjoy him. I think he's fun. And we just get all these scenes of Finn and Jake learning a bunch of new powers. Every time they complete a task, they get a brand new form of wizardry. The first thing is to eat a broom to get dustomancy. Yeah, so watching Finn, you know, eat a broom, that's not on my bucket list, but I was okay with it. I'm fine with it.
Dude, you got your star too.
We're Dustomancers!
And they just keep getting brand new powers. Just watching all the powers is a lot of fun. And eventually Finn goes all the way up to the max level wizard. Jake decides to hang back. And that is when Finn gets promoted to having to guard this meteor that is coming to hit the tower and is going to destroy it. And that is what he's supposed to do for the rest of eternity until he dies. It was all a trick by Bufo. But Finn is like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Walks outside and decides that he's going to try to stop the meteor instead of actually just conforming to what Bufo wants. And I like the scene where he's talking to Bufo, and Bufo is just taking the guy that Finn was taking his place from. He was like grabbing him and just putting him into a coffin. Yeah, pretty wild.
Crazy! Get back in the bouncy harness! Sleep! You are
He puts Bufo to sleep, sends him there. Bufo is just all tuckered, and the other wizards who are also trying to stop the meteor from coming go out to help Finn, and they decide to lift the entire palace wizard dome area over so the meteor goes underneath it instead of hitting it, thus saving the day. I think it's definitely an okay episode. It's more just in good fun than like a actual really interesting plot line or really interesting story. It's definitely not my favorite, but I think it's all in good fun, so I'm still going to put this above Trouble in Lumpy Space. And then we got the episode What is Life? And I always seem to forget that Nepter was an OG. He was in season 1, and they still treat him so damn poorly for so many years, even though he's been there for so damn long. That's always such a weird choice to me. But either way, I'm all for it. I think this is a great episode, with Jake just doing the ultimate prank, throwing a bunch of pies onto Finn. Finn is sad. He doesn't like this. So, in response, Finn wants to create the ultimate pie-throwing robot to get back at Jake. He creates this little guy who is, Nepter. He gets struck by lightning, he comes to life, and he just hates his life. He hates it so much because Finn built him so poorly.
Malfunctioning, and my oven lamp is cold, and my tank treads do not roll. They only do skids. Why, creator? Does it please you to watch me struggle?
So they get the great idea that they need to go to Ice King to supercharge him and get him to his max capabilities. They go to Ice Kingdom, they're just, in Ice Kingdom, just vibing, having a good time, and that is when they start a little bit of a battle between Finn and Ice King. I like this little, centipede ice dude. I think he's very interesting, and in the midst of the battle, Finn goes to dodge, and Neptr gets struck, but him getting struck by this ice lightning brings him to his full capabilities. He is now a perfect machine. Finn leaves with the help of these balloons, and Ice King is just filled with this immense longing. This longing for that little robot. Perhaps he means something to him. Perhaps that will be explored later in the episode. But either way, Finn and Neptr get back to the treehouse, and we get one of the most nonchalant, funniest jokes in the entire series that I'm surprised isn't talked about more, with Finn and Neptr arriving next to the balloons, and the balloons are alive, by the way, and Finn is all like, "Thanks, guys, you fulfilled your blood oath." He releases them, and then they just start going, "Yay!" And one of them just chimes in, and he's like, "Yay, we can finally die in the mesosphere!" Yeah, that was hilarious. It always makes me crack up a little bit. I think that's great stuff. And eventually Ice King shows up to get Neptr back because he views Neptr as his own blood. He wants his son back. This obviously is going to lead to a battle between Finn and Ice King over Neptr, with Neptr ultimately choosing Finn, which was good, but there was a good amount of tension before that, where Neptr was contemplating Ice King and wanting to be with Ice King, and then we get one of those great sequences at the end of this episode, where it's again Ice King just in a dreamlike state with Neptr. Again, one of these things where maybe they were hinting to more stuff with Ice King being a person that is lonely. Maybe they were, apologies. Maybe they were hinting at more stuff of Ice King being an actual person and having wants and desires beyond just being a villain. They added these scenes for a reason, and I think it was to establish Ice King as more of a character instead of just a threat, and I think it works really well. And then just top that all off with a decent enough ending where Finn and Neptr just start brutally pranking Jake by throwing so many pies at him. Good stuff, makes for a good episode. I enjoy Neptr, I enjoy the concept of this little robot coming to life, Finn caring about it. That battle with Ice King is top tier. We get some great comedy in this episode. I'm honestly gonna put this... And then we got the episode Donnie, which honestly this episode has just stuck with me for empathy, put yourself in the place you need. I can think about that a lot. I don't know why. It's not like I use it as a life lesson. I mean, you can if you want to, but empathy, put yourself in the place you need. It's how you relate to others so that, you're constantly thinking about other people with all of your actions. Makes sense. Good stuff. I could relate to that, but at the core of it, the episode is actually very interesting, with Donnie being this character who is so evil, just constantly harassing all the townspeople, putting them up to his shoulders, just being so mean.
You're supposed to be, stupid, a dumb house? Hey, what's with your jowl?
But the concept that they use with this, the purpose of Donnie's world, was a very interesting way to go about it. Because Finn and Jake, they're like, "Donnie, stop doing this." And so they take him with them to try to teach him empathy and to care for other people, because they don't view him as just a villain. They view him as a character who doesn't understand anything. It's a very good way to go about it, right? Let's redeem him instead. And so they're trying to teach him things. He doesn't understand anything. Finn hears some screaming and he's like, "Jake, you just stay with Donnie. I'll go take care with it." And that's when Finn sees the werewolves, and they're trying to eat a bunch of the townspeople, and Finn pushes one into a well, and that's when the werewolf is all like, "We're not werewolves, we're Y-wolves."
We're Y-wolves.
Y-wolves?
And they're just intellectual werewolves, and he starts explaining the ecosystem, and apparently Donnie, being a jerk, radiates this toxin that keeps the Y-wolves away from all the townspeople, and without Donnie, the Y-wolves are able to eat them as much as they want. So Finn realizes that Donnie has to keep on being a jerk. That is the only way to save all these townspeople. So he rushes back home, and he's like, "Donnie, you need to be a jerk." But this brand new version of Donnie, oh man, he's wearing pants, he's playing the viola, he's so smart.
Master Finn has returned.
What's it going?
Thanks to you, I shall never be jerky again.
Jake has converted him in every single way. Empathy, put yourself in the place you need. Yeah, he's just a brand new man. But Finn takes him out and tries to get Donnie to be a jerk, and Donnie's eventually pushed over the edge because he has to, back to being a jerk when his friends turn on him. It's just a sad ending for Donnie. He's very sad, but hey, at least the townspeople are okay, and I'm surprised we didn't see more of Donnie. I feel like he could have been a cool, like, semi-reoccurring character, because, I mean, yes, he's just a jerk, but he had more to him, he had more to his character, but still, this entire concept, the Wolves were a cool villain, Donnie was honestly pretty cool. I like that Jake just converted him right away. I think that there's a lot to like about this episode. The entire concept just works so well for me, which is why I'm going to go ahead and put this above my two favorite people. It's going to be at that number 10 spot for now. And then we have the episode, What Have You Done? And I really like the opening of this episode where it's just Ice King laying in bed having a good time. He gets a knock at the door. He sees some peanut brittle on the ground. How exciting! Good stuff. He opens it and it's all a trick because it was just to get Finn and Jake to lure him into a false sense of confidence so that they could kidnap him and bring him to the Candy Kingdom.
Should have stuck to your diet! Finn, you have destroyed my faith in canned peanut brittle!
I love the opening scene. I think it's hilarious. And then just the combination with seeing the Candy Kingdom looking so gloomy, so diseased, Princess Bubblegum in a plague doctor mask. I love it. It sets the episode up so well. You have so many questions right away. Why are Finn and Jake kidnapping Ice King? And why does the Candy Kingdom look like this? And before Finn and Jake can ask a single question, Princess Bubblegum just says, "No time, bring Ice King to the dungeon." And I really like this one scene. I think it's so funny where she walks up and she's all like, "Tabla," and then this like secret door face appears and she's like, "What's the password?" And Princess Bubblegum just starts jiggling its cheeks just violently, and it's like, "You got me."
What's the password? You got me.
And that opens the door. And so now Finn and Jake are just tasked with watching over the Ice King while he's in his cell. And all the scenes we get here are really funny. One of the scenes that is just a bit over the top is so hilarious. They're spraying him down with the hose and he's like being naughty, I guess. And Finn and Jake just start whipping him with the hose and it just starts imprinting his ass cheeks into his cloak. And they're just whipping his buns.
Poses at you.
And then we're slowly fed this illusion that Ice King has done nothing wrong. He says he's done nothing wrong, and Finn and Jake still don't understand what he's done wrong. So Finn starts to question everything, even though the Ice King just looks so frail, just so evil in a way. But could he have not done anything wrong? And this eventually leads to Finn realizing that maybe he is the jerks, that he is the one that is causing all the problems. So he switches place with the Ice King, puts himself in the cell along with Jake, and Ice King gets to go free with a newfound trust and love for Finn, deeming him his new best friend. Yeah, so Princess Bubblegum walks down there with some gloves ready to make the Ice King howl, and she sees them in the prison and is like, "What have you done?"
What have you done?
What have we done?
And that's when we learn that the Ice King has caused this disease to wreak havoc across the Candy Kingdom, turning everybody into ice and slowly killing everybody. And Princess Bubblegum knows that if Ice King is able to howl, then it can potentially cure everyone. So Finn now has to go to the Ice Kingdom and try to be buddy-buddy with Ice King, just hanging out, having such a great time, and is just trying to get him to just howl. Howl at the moon. Howl the best he could. But he's just so happy, he's so giddy to be hanging out with Finn the human, he can't believe it. And then Ice King goes to smack a little bug off of Finn, or what he thinks is a bug, and because he hit Finn, Finn collapses to the floor and is like, "Ahoo, ahoo, you hit me. Oh, our friendship. Oh, it's ruined." And then Ice King just sees that his friend is now dying on the floor, and he howls, which cures the entire Candy Kingdom. And that's pretty much the entire episode. Finn and Jake leave, go away, and yeah, it's good stuff. I enjoy it. I think we get a lot of great scenes between Finn, Jake, and Ice King here, especially when he's in the cell. The episode is set up really well with the kidnapping of Ice King, just with the mix of the Candy Kingdom. It gives you so many different questions. It just makes for a really decent episode, and that finale was also pretty good with Finn just being like, "Oh, Ice King, how could you do this to me?" It's a pretty funny episode. It's got a good concept. It's got a lot to like about it, which is why I think I'm going to rank it, honestly, above The Duke. It's going to be right below Slumber Party Panic, a very solid episode of Adventure Time. And then we have the episode Rainy Day Daydream, and this is one of the most nonsensical episodes of Adventure Time, but it's just so much fun with Finn and Jake running outside, ready for a day of adventuring, and then all of a sudden there's a knife storm, and some of you might know how I feel about knife storms. They're like gateways to interdimensional portals, leading to magic and perhaps even gold. It's crazy stuff. I have a lot of theories about it, but either way, that's not the point of the episode. So Finn and Jake are now locked inside because of this knife storm, and that is when Jake starts to use his imagination to have a little bit of fun. He starts imagining that the floor is lava. Finn, not really buying into this because it sounds crazy. Jake is like, no, don't touch the floor, and Finn goes to touch it, and his foot genuinely catches on fire.
Jake, what the hey? I was just playing around with my imagination. And everything got intense.
Jake is genuinely able to change the world around him using his imagination. What a concept, and it's actually very interesting. So they decide that they're going to try to turn off his imagination because he starts imagining so many different crazy things, and they need to turn it off to stop all of this crazy stuff from happening. So we get all these great scenes where they're running into monsters and they're all invisible. It's a great way to keep you invested without actually having to draw all of these crazy things, and we get so many great jokes out of it, like the hot babes, the goblin with the bazooka. It's just like, don't do it, man. And he's just, okay.
The bazooka goblin has you in its sights.
Hey, don't shoot us with that bazooka. Don't you do it. Don't do it, man.
Okay.
It's just so much fun. It gives me like vibes of SpongeBob in like the cardboard box using his imagination, but we actually get to see like the cause and effect of all of that. It just makes it a lot of fun. And so with that, Finn eventually does get to his imagination machine, goes to turn it off, pulls a lever, turns it off, and then Jake just becomes a shallow, just horrible person where he's just like, hello, I am a dog. My name is Jake. Hello. Would you like some advice?
Wake up, man.
Hello, Finn. I am awake and healthy.
So Finn, now realizing that Jake is very lame, has to use his own imagination switch to turn Jake back on, and it's just a really good episode. There's a lot to love about it. It's just a lot of fun. I like taking a concept of your imagination and just turning it up to 100 with all of these crazy things that you don't need to see for it to still be fun. The floor being on lava, you didn't need to see that, but the presence and the tension of it being there is real when Finn catches on fire. Same with all the monsters and the snakes and all this different stuff that he's having to battle. Even though you don't see it, it's just a bunch of invisible enemies that makes it really fun to watch all of Finn's reactions and makes for a really decent episode. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this above Ricardio the Heart Guy at number 5 for now, just below the Enkai Ridian. And then we have the episode Henchman, a return to Marceline the Vampire Queen. And I really like this episode because of all the different swerves that they have, like trying to paint Marceline as being evil, and ultimately revealing that she is honestly a very good person. The opening of this episode is this henchman who seems to be being tortured by Marceline, so Finn is all like, I'll take his place, please just stop this, and then the henchman just hops away all giddy, all happy.
You are free.
When Marceline accepts this proposal. And then we just get so many different scenes where it should be Marceline being evil, being torturous, being a horrible person, but it always turns out that she's actually a very good person. They go to a house of this just, little butler man wearing a nice red bow tie, and it appears that Marceline is going to suck his blood, is going to kill him, and then she just drinks the red from his tie, and he's super pumped that he gets a white bow tie. It's a great swerve, and it keeps you on the edge of your toes for the entire episode, wondering, is Marceline actually evil? What's going on here? And then they go to the Duke's party where Marceline is supposed to play a concert there of all things to entertain everybody, and Finn is thinking, okay, well this is going pretty well, until Marceline tells him to kill this little plant. This plant looks so innocent, it looks so happy. Why would Finn possibly kill this plant? Finn hesitates, and that's when it becomes a giant monster, and he has to fight it, and Marceline has to tell him to actually kill it because it turns evil if it exists for too long.
There is no twist. Kill it now. But what? You should have hacked it to pieces when it was still adorable.
Yeah, so Marceline was also trying to do the right thing here. Very interesting. So Finn, at this point, has realized that Marceline is actually a really cool person, if not a bit of a jokester, and so they do this ultimate plan to prank Jake. Jake, who has been following the entire time, he's afraid of vampires at this point in the series, he is going to try to kill Marceline. Finn is hanging out with Marceline. They're at this little strawberry patch. Jake, in a giant strawberry outfit, rushes at Marceline, ready to kill her, stabs her, and we think Marceline is dead.
Whoa! Marceline! Where is she?
What a travesty. Jake thinks that he's cured Finn of being under the vampire's curse, and they're happy and they're bros, and it turns out that Marceline is perfectly fine. She just hid away, and it was all a prank on Jake. Good stuff. Very early Marceline shenanigans, and is just slowly advancing her character into being a genuine friend, and this is when Finn and Marceline's friendship truly starts to develop, and it's very interesting to see early episodes of Marceline once again, and all the shenanigans with Jake just freaking out over everything is also just really adding to the comedy of the episode. I liked all the swerves with Marceline seeming to be evil but turning out to be good. It makes for one of the best episodes of season 1, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this above The Witch's Garden at number 4. And then we have the episode Dungeon, which was truly the first episode that I felt while rewatching season 1 was like classic Adventure Time. I don't know, for me, classic Adventure Time is like season 2, season 3, because I feel like that's when they had the world set up really well, all the characters that were super important were introduced. It just felt right to me. This was one of the first episodes that just felt so right, with the concept being, can Finn survive without Jake? It's a great episode that looks at their relationship and how they rely on each other for a lot of things. I enjoy a lot of aspects of it, especially the beginning where Finn is about to dive into the chamber of the crystal eye, and Jake's all like, "No, my boy, you cannot do this." I don't know how to do a Jake voice. I need a coach. I need a coach. My thing is impressions. That's why people like me. I need a coach. Okay, but Jake is all like, "You can't go in there because you can't survive without me." And Finn is like, "I totally can." And Jake's like, "No, you can't." And Finn decides to go anyway. And then we get this great scene of Jake making out with his sandwich, you know, just being all like, "Go for it. I'll just be alone with my lady," and then just shoves it into his face.
With me? Oh my.
Good stuff. And then Finn is just like, "Dungeons, monsters, villains, yay!" And now he's in the dungeon, and he just keeps on struggling over and over and over again with every single thing that's going on. And we get one of our main villains of this episode, that being the cat. And the cat is, he's kind of weird because he knows things, but not like exact things. So like, he's all like, "Oh, hello, Phil," or Fern, or something close to Finn's name.
How did you almost know my name?
I have approximate knowledge of many things.
It's just almost exactly, and Finn's even like, "Wow, you almost knew my name." And that is what he says. He's like, "Oh yes, I have almost exact precise knowledge," and that's his joke for the rest of the episode. He's almost able to tell where Finn is, and he's a pretty good villain for the episode. And then you just have Finn going through just all these different trials, all these different monsters, and constantly failing, getting to the Bucket Knight, who's just this little guy. Finn roasts him a little bit, and then he pours water on himself, and he's like, "Exponential growth," and just starts beating the shit out of Finn. Finn barely manages to get in this one room that has a key in it, sticks his hand in, and is just kind of freaking out because he doesn't really know what to do in this situation because he needs that key, and if Jake was here, he could just use key hand. Finn is struggling immensely. And this eventually leads to Finn's second encounter with the cat, which he only survived the first time because he smelled Jake and does not like dogs. But now he knows for sure there is no dog around here. So Finn is hiding behind rocks. The tension is good. He's about to snatch Finn, but you know, the thing where he can almost know things but doesn't actually know things, he keeps guessing the wrong rock, so Finn is just waiting there basically to die. And that is when his guardian angel shows up. Just this beautiful angel-like woman grabs Finn, lifts him up, and is taking him away to somewhere so much better, and then she just drops him into a pot and just turns into this rancid, disgusting old woman.
What?
Trust in your
Guardian angel.
Put me down, lady!
As you wish.
Who is going to cook Finn up and eat him. Yeah, very funny stuff. And Finn is just so defeated he doesn't know what to do, and then he looks to his left and it's just Jake. Jake's just there.
Oh, Jake.
What? Jake! Finn!
What are you doing here?
Loved that. And apparently Jake had also been struggling so much with all these different trials because he didn't have Finn with him. I really like this moment of the episode because, again, it just highlights how good their broship is, how good their friendship is, and how they need each other. They're better together than they are apart. I like that. I like the message of it. It's good. It makes it so Finn, like, going through all these struggles feels more justified knowing Jake struggled just as much. And so Jake helps Finn get out of there, crushes the lady, brutally murders her, and they get out of there, and good stuff. They're free. Good stuff. I love it. It's a great bro episode. Finn doing all these trials was a lot of fun. Seeing him struggle is ultimately a good point for his character, because Finn has to struggle a lot before he becomes the, like, mathematical Amadeus later in the seasons. It's just good to see where these characters are coming from, and this was the first episode that truly felt like classic Adventure Time to me, which is why I'm ranking Dungeon at number 1. And then we have the episode Gut Grinder, which I think is one of the more slow episodes of Adventure Time. The first, 8 minutes of it are just Finn and Jake going from town to town trying to figure out who the Gut Grinder is, a monster that is going around stealing gold. And it doesn't really get interesting until they get to the Spiky People's Town, where because Finn and Jake think that, Jake might be the Gut Grinder or somebody resembles him that looks like the Gut Grinder, Jake wears a disguise, the disguise fails, and Jake gets arrested. He gets put in jail, and this old man starts rubbing his belly, and Jake is susceptible to illusions when he gets his belly rubbed. Yeah, very weird. So he stares at this man's gold tooth and he just goes, "I am the Gut Grinder and I want gold." So he stretches up, and at the same time, the actual Gut Grinder comes up from through the sewers and is trying to get the gold from Finn. So Finn is fighting the actual Gut Grinder. Jake, who now thinks he's the Gut Grinder, runs over, wreaks havoc, punches that thing, dismantles it, and then Finn is now getting punched in the face by Jake because Finn had some gold, and Jake starts to walk away, and so Finn's like, "I'm gonna play his viola." He starts playing the viola, and then Jake walks over and he's like, "Don't touch my viola!"
Stay away from my viola.
Remember your viola.
Also remember that you stink hard at playing it.
And that makes him remember who he is, so he turns back to normal. And one of the only parts that I genuinely laughed at in the episode was the ending, where they walk up to the Gut Grinder's body and it's revealed to not even be a actual monster. It's Sharon! Why Sharon? The mayor of Spikeville's wife, who apparently just wanted a bunch of gold to herself because she likes shopping, and she likes to go to the mall and get her hangnail things done. Yippee! And apparently she made it look like Jake because she thinks Jake is hot.
Because I like to buy things, Cameron. I like to shop, and I'm dressed up like Jake because I think he's hot.
Yeah. That was a pretty surprising part of the episode. Everything else was really dull, though, especially the first 8 minutes where they're just going around from town to town. It was just kind of boring. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I think the ending picked up a lot with Jake losing his mind. That conclusion was pretty good. But for the most part, I consider this episode to be pretty boring, which is why I'm going to go ahead and rank it probably above Trouble in Lumpy Space, but below Wizard. And our final episode that we're going to be discussing of Season 1 of Adventure Time is the episode His Hero. And this is the introduction to Billy, and it's the only time that we actually get to see him before he eventually gets his body taken over by the Lich, which was always so weird to me because they hyped him up as being this just amazing figure, somebody to look up to, the ultimate hero from the past, and then we just don't see him again for 3 seasons until his body is taken over, and it's supposed to have this emotional impact. You're supposed to be like, wow, that must be so hard for Finn, but you only see this guy once, so it doesn't really hit that hard, and in his first episode, he's just kind of being grumpy the majority of the time. But I will say, Finn and Jake find his sword, and this eventually leads to them finding his home, but I love the Billy song where they're like, showing you who Billy is. Billy! He fought the Lich, he fought the fire guy, he fought a bear! I like the song a lot. I think that makes the episode a lot better. But they go to Billy, and he's just depressed and grumpy because he doesn't see the value in being a hero anymore, because no matter how much he does, it doesn't actually mean anything because everybody's gonna die anyway, he can't save everybody, and evil always comes back. So Finn and Jake decide to denounce being a hero, because even if their idol can't do it, how could they? So they go to town to get some jobs. They start off by just like, making some porridge for everybody, and they're so bad at that because they added some enhancements to it to make everybody stronger that they start making everybody look grotesque and give them enhancements and just start altering everybody. Yeah, very interesting thing to do. So instead of that, they decide to become doctors. Okay, seems like it'll be all right. What could go wrong? And that is until LSB shows up, and she's like, "Hey guys, I want a hot body. Give me a hot body, please." And so they make her look sexy. They slim her down, giving her that bod that she desires, and then it turns out that they made her cyber enhanced and gave her like cyborg weaponry.
This bod is hot and powerful. Huh?
Which she did not want, and that is also not okay. And so they make them cobblers, so that they're gonna just cobble some shoes, make some shoes, and they put weapons in the shoes. So Finn and Jake are not really ready for any normal job because they just always view it as too protective, trying to enhance things instead of doing what the customer actually likes. And they eventually see this monster attacking this poor old lady, and Finn just can't help himself but to fight that monster. He beats her, and the old lady is happy. She's going like, "Oh yes, thank you, young man. Yeah, yes, good stuff." And so Finn realizes that being a hero is important. He goes to Billy and he says, "Hey Billy, I saved an old lady. What you gonna do about it?" And he's like, "That old lady is probably dead right now." And then Jake pulls her out and is all like, "No, she's not. She's right here." And Billy goes, "I've been so wrong."
We saved her, Billy.
You saved it.
I saved her, Billy. I saved her using violence. And that's not a bad thing, Billy.
And then his heart just reforms in a really weird scene, and Billy's happy again, and Finn and Jake have reignited his love for being a hero. Good stuff. Still really weird that this is the only Billy episode before his eventual death. It'll always be very weird to me. I feel like they could have, done more of a mentor-mentee thing between Finn and Billy and Jake, but they never really did that. I don't know. I feel like his death would have hit way harder if they explored his character more, because he seems pretty cool. I mean, he fought a bear! But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and rank this episode. I think it's funny. I'm actually gonna do above Slumber Party Panic at the number 9 spot. I probably said some of these wrong while I was ranking all of them because I was just kind of looking at it off to the side, but my ranking for Season 1 of Adventure Time is Dungeon, Ocean of Fear, Tree Trunks, Evicted, Henchman, Witch's Garden, What is Life, The Enkai Ridian, Rainy Day Daydream, Ricardio the Heart Guy, His Hero, Slumber Party Panic, What Have You Done, The Duke, City of Thieves, Donnie, My Two Favorite People, Memories of Boom Boom Mountain, When Wedding Bells Thaw, Prisoners of Love, Wizard, Gut Grinder, Trouble in Lumpy Space, Business Time, Freak City, and finally, The Jiggler. And yeah, that's my ranking for Season 1. When it comes to this season and the importance of it, I truly think it's just a really good introduction to everything that we grew to love about Adventure Time. You get to learn about so many pivotal characters in this season. Lumpy Space Princess, Princess Bubblegum, Marceline, Finn, Jake, Ice King. You get to learn about the basic core of Adventure Time. And yes, there is still so much more to explore, but that's what's so great about it. Getting to know all of these characters at the beginning of their story, at the beginning, just seeing who they are to start it off, makes their eventual growth in their character development all the better to watch. And just because this isn't my favorite season of Adventure Time by any means, it doesn't mean it isn't good. There's only really 3 episodes that I honestly dislike, and that's The Jiggler, Freak City, and Business Time, just because I found them to just be so out of what I enjoy about Adventure Time. All the other episodes are still really enjoyable. There's the core of Adventure Time that I truly love. I think this is a great season to set up everything else. And it's just packed with so much comedy, so many bro moments, just setting the stones for everything that we could love about Adventure Time. Which is why 15 years later, I could come back and I could watch the season all over again and still love it so much, because it appeals to such a wide audience. And yes, Season 1 was a lot of random humor, but if you get past that, going into Season 2, it laid such a great groundwork for how good this show could eventually become.